Hi, this is Peter Godinez, your ambassador with KADY TV, and we have an update on the Meet the Candidate. And we always, again, have the privilege of having Steve Huber, and he's got an update, and I want to get to it. So let me stop and say, what's happening?
Well, thanks, Peter. It's great to be back. I was here several months ago when I was a candidate before I filled my paperwork out. And so since then, I've officially filed, and we've had a number of periods or seasons in the campaign already. So it's been fascinating. So first, once you file, then a number of questionnaires from organizations seeking, that you're seeking endorsement come out. So we had the questionnaire period, and then we had the interviews. And it was a sort of mini town halls, meeting the different unions or chambers or realtors, and that went pretty well. I've been endorsed by the Chamber, Oxnard Police, Oxnard Fire, Tri-County Laborers, SCIU 721, Iron Workers 433, Operating Engineers 501, and also the Ventura County Realtors Local Candidate Review Commission. And so it was very good. So now, here we are at the end of September, early October, and we're into the candidate forum period. And also, I've been walking neighborhoods, which is fabulous.
Seen you around.
I've been shaking lots of hands, knocking on lots of doors. That's one of the best ways to get to know what's happening in the city. And so, all I can say is that I'll be knocking on your door pretty soon.
Steve, people have a lot to say, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to introduce yourself, and then they say, so what do you stand for? And so, of course, I give them a little bit of my background. Went to the Naval Academy, I was selected to be commanding officer of a ship, and then only the best of those guys get selected to be commanding officer of a major shore command, and I was selected to do that, in charge of 1,800 people, $600 million budget. And I won awards, took an above average group and made them the best in the state, and so I get to talk about that, and then I get to find out what are their issues. And then they ask me my platform, which is I want to bring leadership to the city and bring a positive tone, a professional atmosphere to City Hall. I want to make sure that we reduce crime and graffiti and our gang issues. We got to take those and get them under control. And I want to make sure that we take care of our infrastructure, not just our roads, but also our plants, our operating plants, and things like that. And finally, we got to have a responsible budget with healthy reserves so that our families, our businesses, our residents can just live and thrive, and the city can move forward. And so just walking, it's been a great exercise program because I walk 2 to 3 hours each day, and it's been
Plus
wonderful.
the weight training program.
Absolutely.
You're like an Olympian now.
My clothes fit much better now. It's wonderful. So, but it's been great getting out to meet everyone, and then it's just been. I'm looking forward to teaching the class, so I will work with KADY TV or any of the organizations that endorse me. I'm going to teach how do you become a candidate, and what's it take, and what's it mean, and what do you have to think about. What do you have to do today if you're an 18-year-old, become a candidate at 6 or 8, or pick a time frame. So I'm looking forward to that.
That'll change the course of history. Probably a lot more people will
I hope so.
get an appreciation for what it takes to
Sure.
run for office, and then maybe some people who are qualified will step up, because now they know how.
That's the neat thing, is there's a lot of qualified people out there. They just haven't asked the right questions or been asked themselves to run. And so that's been a neat part of it. I've worked with, been working with a lot of the youth programs, youth leadership programs in the city, and a lot of them are interested in getting involved in politics, and they're the ones I'm going to focus on after the election to go and sit down and talk to them.
So
So I'm in it for.
You're in the game.
I'm in it. So
you're into the game. So I guess if I missed it, I don't think I did. Was what do you think you learned from the time I saw you our last interview, and the people you've met, the experiences, the response? What do you think you'd say a little bit differently now than you did back when I first met you?
A lot of things that I've learned are each neighborhood is different, but there are some common themes throughout the city. And so as I prepare to go into a precinct, I study, what's going on in that precinct, what are their issues. I talk to the realtors, I talk to, as many of the city staff as I can. What are the issues in River Park? What are the issues in Oxnard Shores? So if somebody asks me, hey, what's going on with our levy? I have an answer for that. So that's been fascinating to find out, doing some in-depth, deep dive, what I call research on what's going on in the city. So the one thing I found is that we have an extremely diverse population, and it's all about family. I kind of knew that going in because of my situation. It's all about family with me. But I just realized more and more and more. I walk into a house, I won't walk into a house, but I'll knock on the door and the person will say, hey, I have 7 votes in here, why should we vote for you? Well, that's a family that's in that house that is interested in Oxnard, moving Oxnard forward. So that's kind of fun. That's been
Very few families I see actually disagree amongst the middle. Usually the ones who they get beat up. That's what I found in this neighborhood. So your point taken. What do you think? This show is actually attracting a lot of business leaders. Have you had a chance to meet a lot of some of the bigger, medium, smaller sized business leaders in the community?
I have. I've looked and I've met with a lot of the business leaders across the board, from small businesses to large businesses. And what they want to make sure that we have a transparent city council and city, and that it becomes efficient. And those are some things that I'm running on. Is I want to make sure that we get rid of the waste. That we have a more efficient, we have more efficient processes across the staff. Because after all, we should be we're a full service city, and the focus should be on the residents and the businesses. And in the business sense, they're the customer. And so we should exceed their expectations. And right now, we're not doing that. So we have some work to do. And I've heard a lot about that. The one thing that after we met last and people found out I was running, they said, hey, do you have a minute? And an hour or so later, I heard there are issues with permitting or the road or whatever it is. And so a lot of issues that can easily be taken care of. We have a great new city manager. I'd love to be working with him because we have to support him. The city council has to give him the what needs to be done, vision, the purpose, and let him figure out the how. And then we'll just keep watching and making sure that we're doing it. So that's been great, learning all that. Getting to know the new city manager, Greg Nyhoff. We've met a couple times and
Have him on the show.
yeah, exactly. I watched that, so I'm paying attention. I'm
You are
staying informed.
definitely not a daydreamer like me. So I have the privilege of getting a chance to interview both the business as well as the politician government portion of it, and I'm having a hard time actually remembering who I'm actually talking to because they're becoming very similar, which is encouraging. It's like they're becoming one mind, and I think K80YTV is doing here is bringing it together, and that's why I've asked you because I've had a chance to talk to some of the top business people in the area. So I'm really glad you're connected with those.
Yeah, great opportunity here to come down, spend a couple of minutes with Good Morning Oxnard and talk about what are the issues and get them down. So I look forward to watching you guys more often, you all more often. And hope I can come back after November 4th in a different position.
I'll build on that. You do realize now the term "got a minute" now really means you got an hour and a half. And can you sit down? I got a lot to say. I'm sure you've learned that. Was there anything else that I usually have interrupt people and say what they really would like to say? Did I capture everything of this brilliant man in front of me here, or what?
No, thank you. I between the interview that we did in May, which was about my background, and then I just wanted to come back and say I've learned a lot, and it makes me want to be a city councilman even more because I think I have a lot to offer. I'm a proven leader that has not just, I don't just say I've done things, I've actually done them, and I have some great ideas that I think we can take the city forward, and we can be the best in not just the region, but the state, and we're going to have lots of people knocking on our doors trying to figure out how we did it and what's going on, and we'll certainly share all that, so I'm looking forward to it.
I want to say to our audience, if you didn't get a chance to see Steve's interview, look in our archive and see it. He is an interesting man. I'm not going to go into it and blow the story and say Rosebud's a sled, but it's fascinating. So it's there for you to watch, to listen. So thank you, Steve. It's always a pleasure seeing you, whether it's in front of the camera or out and about knocking on doors. But this is Peter Godinez, your ambassador with K80Y TV, and an update on Meet the Candidate. Until next time.